Namaste, beautiful souls. We're doing the yoga on cards again for the 365 days of healing. Can never get that right, that reverse camera. So beautiful cards. We have done a reading before on these, but I'll just recap that these cards were developed by one of our beautiful graduates, Sky Smith, and I worked with her. It was based on the training she did, her yoga teacher training with My Health Yoga, and I was so fortunate to be able to collaborate with her. And the most beautiful card. So that's the box. This is the little booklet that comes with it, tells you a little bit more, and of course the cards themselves. So many of our graduates have these cards already. It really helps you to design yoga classes, but they can be used like any oracle card where you get a reading for the day, an insight, a message, or it helps you just to know what poses you might need to get into the physical body, to access the meridian system, the chakra system. It's all here. All the information is in the cards. And wow, there's storytelling, the deities, it's all there. It's just so beautiful. So what message do we need for today in this now moment? Doesn't matter when you're watching this, because the way that, of course, readings work is when you watch it, it's the message that you need to receive. So what is going on? Let's just see here what we pull out today. And we've got the pigeon pose. And just so you can see what's on the cards, you've got your Sanskrit name, you've got which meridians and also which chakras open. And so whether you want to work physically or metaphysically, it's really all there for you. There's also the alignment tips, variations of how to do the pose. But of course, as an oracle reading, we're going to just consider what this is teaching us. And pigeon pose is really about moving into accessing the energy in the hips. The hips are the largest joint in the physical body. And metaphysically, they're known as the saddle bags, or physically, they're known as the saddle bags. So metaphysically, it's the same concept. It's a storage area. It's a baggage area. It's where we may place unresolved tension, unresolved trauma into the hips. So the hips really, for many people, can become very stagnant, very inflexible with that stored emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. If you don't move the energy, if you don't feel the emotion in its raw form, the energy doesn't simply go away. You haven't become some master just by shoving the energy down and pressing it away, or, putting it in a compartment. It doesn't work. It comes up somehow, somewhere, either through your behaviors or perhaps physical disease, or in the case of the hips, it could mean that you have got such chronic pain. Many people end up having hip replacements as they age. So we can look at that metaphysically as there's so much unresolved physical, mental, emotional, spiritual tension, all the way through to trauma that's trapped there in the hips. Now, of course, the way yoga works is you do the physical asana, you do the physical pose, and you breathe into it. The mindfulness goes into that area, and that starts to do a reversal of the blockage that you've created. And along the way, as you're holding the pose, a lot of memories, emotions will come to the surface. And of course, you're in a very safe place, particularly in a pose like this, because your head's down. You need to have a little cry on your mat, or a big cry on your mat, or feel the anguish as it erupts out of the hip. Yoga practice will encourage you just to stay with it, be with it. Don't distract. This time, don't avoid, don't compartmentalize. Be with that experience. And that in itself, switching on the light of awareness, is what heals you over time, is what brings the flow back to the hip. So you feel a change in the physical experience, the energy in the hip, but you also have a new way of dealing with life out there, because life out there mirrors life in here. The energy you hold in yourself is mirrored by the universe out there. So it's how the microcosm and the macrocosm works. So when you do poses and when you experience tension, tightness, blockage in the body, it's teaching you something about your emotional self. It's teaching you where you're holding on. And of course, when you're holding on and you've got blockage, it's going to manifest in blockages in your relationships, blockages in your finances, blockages in your success, blockages in the way you perceive yourself. It also could come up as things in your house keep breaking down. The Hawaiians, the kahunas, ancient kahunas, really taught us about that, how if your car breaks down, it's still symptomatic of some blockage within yourself. So you can see everything as a reflective tool of yourself. Now, that's not always easy to accept, is it? But, it doesn't mean everything has to be a sign in every moment. But when you're ready to do the work, you can certainly look. I just realized I've got pineapple on the back of that card. I've been sitting here eating pineapple. Don't know whether you saw that. So, yeah, everything can be a reflection. The hips, I want to say, can really hold a lot of trauma in terms of sexual abuse can be stored in the hips. It's around the base chakra area. So if there's been violation via the base chakra, that has also affected the sacral chakra, a sense that sex is wrong, it's taboo, whether that's through religious conditioning, but also too because of sexual abuse. This can have robbed you from something that should be very innocent, innate, and beautiful to experience, and it may have created a tainted energy. And so these are the sort of things that can unwind, if you like, when you're doing pigeon poses. They're not always pleasant doing these releases physically and metaphysically because the emotional body is purging so strongly. But remember, breathe, stay with it, feel. Interesting that I've pulled this card because on the last few days on my right side, seemingly for no reason at all, just purely metaphysical, I've had a deep kind of ache in my hip. So the right hip moving down into the right side of the leg, which would be the outside of the leg is the gallbladder meridian. You'll see that on the card as well. It'll be one of the meridians that's highlighted, that's being activated and cleansed and released. So there's always messages for us all, and I hope that you receive a message about this as well. And be at peace with whatever wants to rise from you and out of you. And even if you don't end up doing the pose today, but this has just been a great insight and a great message for you, or maybe another part of the body that's speaking to you. It's not a punishment. It's asking you to pay attention, just resolve some of the emotions that are blocked, and choose to love yourself no matter what, because the body is an amazing tool for insight and awareness. And all you have to do is just pay attention. Switching on the light of awareness, paying attention is already done halfway of the healing for you, and the rest will come to the surface as it needs to in the right time and space. But be prepared and also be excited about doing the inner work because it changes your reality. Your frequency changes and therefore life mirrors back all sorts of wonderment, enchantment, success on all different levels. So enjoy the beautiful pigeon pose and the messages from today from our yoga cards. Namaste, everyone.